Hey mate, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can now. Yeah. Good to see. We spoke after the match on Monday in the press conference. Then a few days since, how have you filled your time? You've had time to reflect. Have you tried to step away and perhaps get away from football for a bit? But what have you been doing the last few days?
We took some time out initially after the game and the next day, and then after that, I just went back into what is 3 games left. So a big game now on Saturday. So of course disappointed. There is disappointment around the place. Of course there is, because the season has ended with relegation for us. But as always now, it's this part, and there's still 3 games left to play. There's a focus, which is Southampton, and then on to the following week where we've got 2 more games really. So not too much reflection as of yet, but that's still to come.
And of course, your players will have been, had the last few days to focus their minds as well. How do you go about getting the players up for these last 3 games, knowing that you haven't managed to achieve what you set out to achieve at the start of the season?
That's the next challenge, and next challenge for me and the players, because faced a lot of challenges this year, but certainly that challenge now is there's 3 games left, and someone's pride, someone's professionalism steps into play. So of course, that there's no doubt when you have disappointment that we've had this week with obviously the confirmation of us being relegated. The next challenge for me is making sure that this team are very professional in the next 3 games, and we end the season in the right way, in the right tone. So that's exactly what we'll endeavour to do.
And you spoke the other day about this summer being absolutely pivotal for Fulham in terms of how they go forward in the future as a club. And there's been talk about things like director of scouting, which hasn't been one in place since September. How crucial are roles like that, do you think? And how important is it to fill that role if Fulham are to take these big decisions in a pivotal time?
Every role is important. What's more important than just a role or a title is actually what happens in that role, and someone in that role who delivers. I'm not just talking about the role you're insinuating or you're speaking about there. I'm just talking about in general. So of course, roles and people in them roles and titles at the football club and structures and processes in place are vitally important. But what's more important is making sure the right people are there, and then people are skilled in that skill set, and everyone's on the same page in that. So of course, like I've said, I'm sure there's going to be a post-mortem after this season in terms of what we need to do to improve as a football club and where we need to get better. And that's just one element that the club obviously feel that needs to improve.
Is there a suggestion then that perhaps at the moment the structure isn't quite right, and perhaps the right people with the right qualifications aren't in the roles that are there at the moment?
Yeah, I'm not sure about that really. I'm not here, and I don't want to engage publicly on that matter really. This is at the moment disappointment of the season and where it's ended. There are conversations that need to be had amongst us there, and like I've said, the important thing is we need to have honest conversations that all of us at certain moments might not like, but that's for us to improve as a football club and for us to get better. Their conversation will need to be had.
And you're very much talking about how you go forward, the club goes forward as well. Outside of that, I'm hearing a lot of talk from pundits, ex-players, journalists, linking you with other roles, linking you with things like Tottenham and so on. Is your head turned by that? Is that flattering to hear that talk?
No. I realise where we are. I've been around this for such a long time. I have one focus, and that's the next 3 games. I want this season to end in the right way, and my main focus is delivering that to the players and us coming out with 3 good performances really. So speculation is something in this game that we can never hide away from, and it's constantly there, and that changes like the wind, like we all know. So out of my control really, and my main focus is us and us improving, and us for the remainder of this season putting in performances really, and that is exactly where it is.
And just finally from me, in terms of Fulham, see, you came up, you've gone back down again. What's the key thing for Fulham to avoid becoming that yo-yo club that seems too good for the Championship and not quite being able to stick it in the Premier League?
Yeah, it's probably consistency. I think we need consistency. This is, like you said, promotion or relegation, every year, probably a different team. So while there's comparisons, what people will say, get back up next year. Every year there's a different team and an outlook. So certainly that will hinder long-term success for us. We need to look at that. Definitely need to look at that. This year, the decision we made was to try and stay in this league, and we did that via a lot of loans. But we need to work out whether the way we've gone over the last 4 years in terms of what we've done has been right. We always knew this year would be difficult. This year was always going to be a challenge for us, and we knew that. A new team, so in terms of that, the youngest team in terms of Premier League experience, the least amount of goals we have in the squad. The challenges of coming up from the Championship into a league which is the best in the world. The money we spent, I think it was probably 10 million in terms of the new additions into this squad. And you have to see the teams what have gone down as well, and what they spent was probably double, if not treble. So the challenges were always there. What's been disappointing is the performance, and the performances during the season had an upturn, and we had a lift. And the fine margins of this league is we've just fallen short in them certain moments. 17 games we've got points out of this season. 17 games we've been competitive. The last 5 or 6, okay, we've fallen off it a little bit. And I suppose it's, that's the frustration bit. So while I knew, and I think we all knew, we was very realistic. I certainly was when I looked at the start of this season. I knew there was going to be a challenge for us, and it's there with the facts I've just hit you with. That was always going to be there. I suppose ultimately where the frustration comes is because we've been very competitive. We're a team that have been front foot. We're a team that have improved along the way. And like I said, just the fine margins of it, a late minute goal, not on the right end of one, just at the last minute. There's loads of games I can go through. So that's probably been the biggest disappointment. And we need to analyse all of that and understand that really.
Thanks a lot, Scott. All the best.
Thanks, Roger. Jonathan over in Premier League Productions.
Thanks, Carmelo. Hi, Scott. So just carrying on that theme then of what you were just talking about there with Roger, do you look at a club like Norwich, who obviously had a really bad Premier League season, but by all predictions are going to presumably do better next year? Do you look at them and think down the line that we can do that season after next? Should you be fortunate enough to get promotion?
Yeah, if you're fortunate enough to get promotion, definitely. Norwich are a team that squad's been together for some time, and they've added accordingly. They've sold a couple, but added accordingly. That squad's definitely going to be in a better place than it was last time in the Premier League. Why? Because experience is the last time that squad's been together. So certainly a team like Norwich have done very, very well. Hence why they've done well this year in the Championship. The Championship's a difficult division. A lot of football, very competitive league. Not just as easy as just coming out. What Norwich have done, and Watford, it's a difficult ask.
So the loan situation presumably is going to make for a somewhat tricky summer for you, isn't it? Just in terms of forward planning and knowing sort of what group you're going to have around in August. What for you is the priority? Yeah,
of course it is when you have. Again, the loan system is something we've used consistently, 6-7 loans every year. So of course that has been an ongoing theme, and it makes it more harder because obviously at that point the team then gets changed the following season. So in terms of continuity, in terms of message, I'm a firm believer in culture. I want to develop a culture at the football club, and to do that there needs to be consistency. So certainly loans don't give you that. Of course they don't. But at certain times you need to take risk on that. And the risk was this year, again, was to try and stay in this league. And to do that, we didn't want to spend a lot of money, hence why we've spent 10 million on new additions. We went down the loan route. So, next year, exactly that we need to sit down, work out where we're going longer term, work out what we need to do, how we want to see it. That's a conversation we have at the end of the season.
Yeah, and in terms of the professionalism you talked about earlier over the remaining 3 games, Scott, what's your message to the players? Will you is what you see over the next 3 games going to influence some of the decisions that you make on the future of this squad?
Yeah, of course it is. Definitely. I'm a professional person, and the players are as well, and they have a job to do. They get paid by the football club. There's a job to do, and that job is that they're in the biggest and the most spotlight league in the world by none. And every week you go out there, that spotlight's shining on you. And whether you're relegated or not, there's a pride, there's a professionalism that needs to come into play. So that's my message first and foremost to the team. And of course, like anything, these are the moments when you really see what people are made of, and you see what certain traits people have in their character. Is normally during the tough times. And I've seen that throughout this year with this group of players, and they've many times stood up to that, and they've been strong in that, and they've got traits which have been positive. But like I said, you only really test someone's personality or traits or see that during adversity. And now at this moment, there is a lot of excuses. There can be. There's a lot of reasons why maybe one or whoever, doesn't need to perform a level, but the facts are they do.
And any new injuries at all, Scott, after Monday?
No new injuries at the moment. Not that I can pick off the top of my head. No, we're all good.
Okay, good luck. Thank you, Scott.
Thanks, Jonathan. We'll move over to the written section to have a few hands.